Sheletta, I understand it was earlier this summer you hosted a free door lock giveaway for Houston families who have special needs children. Talk to us about that event and how those donated locks are saving lives today.
The campaign is called Spread Locks with Love. I have 3 special needs children, all diagnosed with autism, and some of them are prone to wandering, where they elope from the home and they are drawn to water. And if these children cannot talk or make eye contact or follow simple commands, it's impossible to teach them to swim, and that is a deadly recipe for disaster. And so my family and I tried all kinds of safety measures. We put the gates up and then they got too big for the gates. We put the hotel locks up and they start popping the lock and would get out, and neighbors would bring them back home. But we found these interior combination door locks on Amazon. It's a 6 to 10 digit code that you put in. They cost between $30 and $50. And when I found out that the girl in Fulshire had died and wandered away from home, I wanted to do something for Houston. I'm a native of Fifth Ward, Texas, born and raised right there on Gregg and Lyons Avenue. And so I went out to the YMCA off of Cavalcade and I gave away 100 interior combination door locks because I didn't want funding and resources to be a barrier to keep these children safe in their homes.
That's really incredible. That effort, I'm sure, meant the world to these families, especially families in need and families with children of high needs. Talk to us about, you touched upon some of the works that work for you and your family. Talk to us about advice that you'd want to give or share with other parents about children wandering off.
And what I need to say first is that a lot of times people who don't have special needs children judge, well, why wasn't she just watching her kids? And why didn't the daddy stay home and take care of the kid? These kids who are prone to wandering every second of the day are looking for a way to get out of the home. You can't go outside to load and unload groceries without locking the door after every time you come in the house. You can't go to the bathroom. You can't pee with the door closed. You can't take a shower because that's just the moment that these children who like to elope get out of the house. So I want to say to parents out there who don't have special needs kids, please don't judge and condemn. We need compassion and we need grace. If you have a child with special needs, those interior combination door locks are the key to keeping them safe, as well as gates and alarms. Comcast Xfinity has a home service that they provide, a home safety service, and that gives you individual chirps for each door. And so we need a village. We need those neighbors. I take my kids to each and every one of my neighbors and say, listen, this is Daniel Brundidge. This is Cameron Brundidge. This is Brandon Brundidge. He may or she may wander. And if you see them walking down the street in the middle of the night with no shoes on, please grab them and bring them back to my house. I also take my children to the local police department on a regular basis and say, listen, this is Cameron, Daniel, and Brandon Brundidge. They wander. They have autism. If you see them, please bring them home. I leave pictures every year, updated school pictures at the police department, and I make sure they know who we are and what the limitations are that my children have, because I can't assume that somebody knows.
Yeah, building those bridges and ensuring too, children with autism, people with autism, they don't look any differently from other folks. And so, I think that's really critical. Those taking that time and being intentional with those introductions, letting them know who you are and letting your children know who they are as well also goes a long way.
Yes, it does. And, we have to get rid of the shame and the stigma. A lot of times people who have children with autism, they are embarrassed. They don't bring their kids around. They don't want to be out there in the limelight. And because our kids get bullied, they get picked on, they get ridiculed. People call them the R word. They judge the parents. Well, did you do something while you were pregnant? Did you not take your vitamins? Were you drinking while you were carrying that child? Why does that child have autism? What did you do wrong? And so parents withdraw. They go inside. And so a lot of times they don't want to talk about it, but that time is over. We're trying to keep these kids safe. And so we have got to get out there and be the voice for our children who cannot speak up.
Yeah, absolutely. Sheletta, I do a lot with an organization called Autism Speaks, and it's through that work I've realized, I've come to learn that journey can be incredibly isolating, not only for that child, but also for the parent. And letting parents know that there is a community for them and for their child. There are so many resources out there for folks. Talk to us about families in need. There are free resources. There are free tools. Talk to us about those free outings, those free opportunities.
You know, so many of us have cultivated communities online, especially during COVID. You know, we were isolated already, but during COVID, it got worse. And so there's so many mom and dad Facebook groups online that you can join. Also, you know, every state in the country has an autism society,
Yeah.
and they have amazing resources and camps and services that are available for families to take advantage of. You do not have to go on this journey alone. You know, I say getting your child diagnosed with autism is like getting the keys to an 18-wheeler and somebody telling you there's $1 million in the cab of this truck.
Yeah.
Now, if you can drive this truck home, you can have this $1 million. You can't drive a truck home. You don't know what to do with this autism diagnosis. You need a community of people. Everything that I have learned from my children, I have learned from another parent. But it's going to take us to get outside of our own minds. It's going to take us to open up to someone other than a family member and talk about how we feel, how alone we are. And you'll realize that you are not by yourself. I remember when my kids were first diagnosed, nobody was talking about it. Everybody was ashamed because, you know, we felt that our kids' disability reflected on us.
Of course.
And I saw Holly Robinson Pete out there with her son, RJ, and I saw the success that he had. And I thought, you know what, if this boy can get a job, he's working with the LA Dodgers, he's driving, then my kids can play Uno. They can learn their names.
Yeah.
They can learn their alphabets. They can play a sport. And all those things I was encouraged to do by another mother. And so that's why I've written children's books. I have 4 autism children's books to help encourage parents that things can and will get better, but it takes a village. It takes a village to raise these strong, healthy children. They have superpowers, and it's up to us to figure out what it is.
Yeah, it truly does take a community, and having conversations like this, letting folks know that these communities exist, they're out there, and they're here for you is really critical. For folks wanting to get in touch with you, how can they go about doing so?
You can go to my website at ShelettaMakesMeLaugh.com. Sheletta, Sheletta, makesmelaugh.com. I have information and resources there on that page about grants and scholarships and groups and safety workshops for parents who have kids with autism. You can also find my books there. And I am sure that before the end of this month, I will be coming to Fort Bend County to give away some locks as part of my Spread Love with Locks campaign to honor the memory of this child and to support other families who have kids with special needs. So please go to the website and look for that there. All that information will be found there.